Hello, greetings from World University and School on Monday, June 6th, 2026, 2 days after the US Independence Day this past Saturday, 250th, I think, celebration of this uh, Declaration of Independence in 1776. Uh, as we wait to see if people will join us in this open WUAS news and question and answer on this Monday at 10 a.m., July 6th, 2026, 1 p.m. Eastern time. I think it's 10:30 p.m. in India, and it may be 1 a.m. in the morning the next day, Hong Kong time. I'd like to share a little news with you about recent developments at World University and School. Uh, Dear World University and School community, networks, and friends, Universitians all, greetings. And here are some great new World University and School WUAS developments. Glad to have reached out to Frau Angela Merkel, Chancellor of Germany from 2005 to 2021, and Mrs. Theresa May, Prime Minister of Great Britain from 2016 to 2019, and Peter Norvig, Google AI Director. And regarding how best to develop free to students WUAS at World Univ and SCH on Twitter, X, and LinkedIn with MIT OpenCourseWare in 7 languages, with Atlantic Partnership at Atlantic PARTN on Twitter X, and see their website. They're based in London, and they have offices in Washington, D.C. and New York. And Frau Angela Merkel just gave a talk there, I think, possibly hosted by Mrs. Theresa May. And regarding also England World University and School. So I wondered about this and shared both MIT OpenCourseWare in 7 languages and MIT OpenCourseWare in English, and wondered further how on LinkedIn in particular, 3 similar LinkedIn posts for World University and School, how World University and School and England World University and School could partner or collaborate with the University of Oxford, and potentially also in building out Germany World University and School, how World University and School could partner with a German university, or possibly in another way by, for example, accrediting, possibly in Germany. And Theresa May is an alumna of the University of Oxford from 1979 or so, I think, in geography. And having reached out like this, I was glad to hear back over the past week from abstracttechnologies.de, an organization in Germany that has built on the Open edX Europe platform a new German university for digital science. And this is a potential opportunity. The email that they sent me, abstracttechnology.de, sent me, was an invitation to possibly work with them. And it made me wonder whether World University and School could add all the MIT OpenCourseWare courses in English to the abstracttechnology.de Open edX platform for Europe, and then whether abstract technology could even help World University and School accredit this German World University and School. So add all the MIT OpenCourseware courses for, say, English-speaking World University and School in English, translate them into German, create also Germany World University and School in German, and could we accredit with a German accreditation agency in these regards? And potentially work further with all the countries along the Atlantic in offering free online World University and School degrees, from Brazil to South Africa to Nigeria to Morocco to Spain to Portugal to England to Canada to the US to Mexico, and make these degrees available through this new development possibility with abstracttechnology.de, and even building out Germany World University and School in English and German, and seeing if abstracttechnology.de or even Frau Angela Merkel and Mrs. Theresa May could help accredit this with a German accrediting agency. So created a set of Twitter posts and LinkedIn posts about this. Frau Angela Merkel, Mrs. Theresa May, Peter Norvig, Google AI Director, how best to develop free to students WUAS at World Univ and SCH with MIT OpenCourseware in 7 languages at Atlantic Partnership, e.g. for England WUAS, and with the University of Oxford at Uni of Oxford on Twitter X, and hashtag Germany WUAS. And I retweeted Theresa May's Twitter post. It was a pleasure to host Angela Merkel this morning at the Atlantic Partnership. As one of the most influential European political leaders of the past 2 decades, she has helped shape many of the debates that continue to define Europe today. And check out this blog post for the picture of Angela Merkel and Theresa May in particular. So I blogged about this in a blog post beginning Armenia Maritime Sea Thrift Flower in my blog, scott-mccloud.blogspot.com, from June of 2026, on June 26, 2026. And further, agenda item A in this introductory letter greeting, are there any organizations in the US or companies that are both a 501c3 tax-exempt legal entity like World Univ and SCH, and concurrently a for-profit general stock company legal entity in the state of California, like the WUS Corporation at WUS Press, part of at hashtag World Univ and SCH? And I asked Gemini this, and Gemini gave an incredible reply and began to lay out how this tandem structure would work in sharing intellectual protocols, IP law, and also financially, how the 2 wings would interoperate, which is a huge step forward for World University and School in making both of these wings financially operational, the nonprofit World University and School and the for-profit general stock company legal entity in the state of California, the WUS Corporation. Glad to be coming into conversation with Gemini AI in some of these regards. And as it also iterates and develops with its machine learning responses, generative conversational artificial intelligence replies. So more about this in the blog post beginning Indo-Chinese Green Magpie in my blog from June of 2026. There are incredible potential synergies between these two WUAS wings planned in all 200 countries and for speakers of all 7,159 living languages, plus other languages, and in so many other ways at World University and School's upcoming online educational resources. And see also agenda item 2 from Monday, June 22nd, weekly business meeting for how these two wings might interoperate financially and regarding IP law further. In the blog post beginning Phong Phui Blue Mountain National Park, India, in both blogs. And again, item B, regarding the WUAS Corporation for-profit wing in the state of California, our second wing, and its beginning webpage is at worlduniversityandschool.org/academicpress.html with the tax ID at the bottom. How will WUAS be able to develop with Stanford MindPi cryptocurrency? For example, from mindpi.com/SGKMAC initially, and as a for-profit general stock company in the state of California, and even possibly with time, list the WUAS Corporation on a stock exchange, such as the NASDAQ or the Silicon Valley Long-Term Stock Exchange, or even multi-list the WUS Corporation. And regarding the academic press at WUS in 7,159 living languages with machine and human translation, and the WUAS Educational Services stores, both in all 200 countries. And item B1, and how will the WUS Corporation interoperate effectively with our first World University and School wing, with its US federal and state of California tax-exempt World University and School legal entities? And C2, the candid.org profile for World University and School as a 501c3 nonprofit. And item B2, and how might the hashtag Grow with Google WUAS program for World Univ and SCH WUAS potentially help with coding these two WUAS wings, especially initially? This is a fascinating possibility to develop further with Grow with Google WUAS. Item C. So World University and Schools Open WUAS Weekly Business Meeting, News and Question and Answer continue to meet on Mondays. Today, Monday, July 6, 2026, at 9 a.m. Mexico City time, 10 a.m. Pacific time, 11 a.m. Mountain time, 1 p.m. US and Canada time, Eastern time, 5 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time. I think it's 6 p.m. Central European Standard Time, 10:30 p.m. India time, 1 a.m. Tuesday the next day Hong Kong time, but please check your time converter. And I will post this to the current active YouTube channel for World University and School, youtube.com/Scott McLeod World University. So the agenda for today is from last week, 6/29, June 29th, and it begins Mount Shasta Wilderness in both blogs. Check it out if you're watching this video recording of weekly business meeting for WUAS. So World University and School is growing daily, and weekly business meeting by weekly business meeting. And business meeting is a label in both blogs. And before these, and WS weekly business meeting, monthly business meeting by monthly business meeting, loosely conducted in the manner of unprogrammed Quakers, NTF Quakers. And blog post by blog post 2, and waiting, I think, for accreditation opportunities to further develop. And in WUS seeking to deploy with the full US federal toolkit as well. And perhaps accreditation opportunities for World University and School are developing, as I talked about earlier. Item E, and WUS is waiting for money from grants.gov initially. See agenda item 4, or some other grant somehow. How to grow a flourishing, engaged, and engaging research community online. MIT and Harvard's How to Grow Almost Anything Synthetic Biology course online as a model. HTGAA is a blog label in both blogs. And how best to grow an engaged and engaging WUS Wiki teaching and Wiki learning community, with Wiki teachers and Wiki learners teaching and learning in any of the subjects on the Open Subjects Wiki subject page, which is in English presently only, but will potentially develop in all 200 countries' main languages, and even especially in all 7,159 living languages for speakers of these. So could we create a class for this? I'll touch on this perhaps below or next week. Or beginning new wiki subjects, first in English, but then in all 200 countries' main languages, and then for speakers of all 7,159 living languages to do this in all these languages. And again, with wiki subjects one can create, for example, about what one loves to do, teach, or learn about, and both online with 2D, 3D computer screens, and in our homes, in a developing realistic virtual earth, in digital glasses, and similar hardware, and especially in WUS multimedia rooms in our homes, and which we can create or eventually may be able to purchase. A WUS hospital multimedia room, for example, and at the WUS Academic Medical Center, for example, out of 670 Ridgecrest Canyon 94516, potentially 2. And for genetics research at the cell level and the molecule view level and the atom view level, and n-dimensionally, potentially, in something like Google Street View in a hospital multimedia room for n-dimension that you can enter into immersively. All the best, abolitionally, a best Steam Creative Commons licensed OpenCourseWare Wiki at World Univ and SCH. WUS abolition movement continues to grow to protect people. And read more about this in the 2 blog posts from October of 2025, beginning Eagle Aquila World University, and in WUS seeking to code for all 7.9 billion people on the planet to facilitate wiki-free universal education and potentially to end poverty worldwide. Yogically, 8 Limbs of Yoga, friendly NTF, NTQ, Quaker, and Unitarian Universalist Church greetings. Kind regards, Scott. Scott G.K. McLeod, founder, president, CEO, and professor presiding and recording clerk loosely in the manner of unprogrammed NTF Friends Quakers at World University and School, WUS. And the recording of today's WUS weekly business meeting will be posted to the main YouTube channel, youtube.com/@ScottMcLeod-World-University/videos. So more about 5 new WUS web pages from gushwork.ai further, and also in the previous week. Check it out in the agenda from last week for today, beginning Mount Shasta. So moving on to the World University and School wing, the first of 2 WUAS wings, a 501c3 or similar nonprofit, and see the candid.org profile for World University and School, building on Creative Commons licensed best Steam OpenCourseWare, and which is Wiki. Its webpage currently is worlduniversityandschool.org, and see both exempt legal entities tax IDs at bottom of this. So agenda item 0, as video recording as minutes for from last week and for the previous week, I think June 22nd, Agenda and News Weekly Business Meeting, beginning Phang Phui, Blue Mountain National Park, India. Further, how to explore or develop OSK gene drug therapies and WUS clinical trials in a realistic virtual Earth. Were some foci there. Agenda item 1. Dear Frau Angela Merkel, Chancellor of Germany from 2005 to 2021, and Mrs. Theresa May, Prime Minister of Great Britain from 2016 to 2019, regarding Global Commission on Modern Slavery at GC Modern Slavery is the Twitter feed. Hashtag Peter Norvig, Google AI Director. In growing a WUS abolition, hashtag World University, Worldwide Abolition Movement. How best to develop this further and possibly with Atlantic partners. And in World University and School, potentially building out England WUS and Germany WUS and World University and Schools all along the Atlantic countries, and how to do this with England WUS and the University of Oxford, for example, and Germany WUS and France WUS and Norway WUS, which I guess maybe in the North Atlantic Sea, and Spain WUS and Netherlands WUS and Canada World University and School and Mexico World University and School and Brazil World University and School, Morocco WUS and Nigeria World University and School and South Africa WUS. And in all the other European, American, South American, and African countries, online WUS universities that border on the Atlantic Ocean and which will be accessible from this nation states wiki subject page, wiki.worlduniversityandschool.org/wiki/nation states, each a world-class online WUS university. And see too the blog post that begins Armenia Maritima Sea Thrift Flower from June 26, 2026. Agenda item 2. What is artificial intelligence? What is artificial intelligence in comparison to information technology? How will artificial intelligence affect the network society, and in particular, the university and the global university, building on MIT OpenCourseWare in 7 languages in each of all 200 countries? The fusion of AI with open educational resources means the global university no longer has to choose between elite quality and mass scale, is something that Gemini AI replied with. By utilizing IT as the underlying network's infrastructure, MIT OpenCourseWare as the verified knowledge base, and AI as the interactive multilingual education, the democratization of higher education across every continent becomes an operational reality. This is exciting. So, defining the landscape, this is Gemini AI. To understand where we are heading, it helps to first clarify what these technologies actually are and how they differ. So, artificial intelligence versus information technology. Information technology, IT, is the infrastructure of the digital age. It is the plumbing, the wiring, and the storage. Information technology encompasses the hardware, software, networks, and databases used to manage, process, and transmit data. It operates on deterministic logic. If you write a specific line of code or input a specific query, an IT system executes the exact command the same way every time. Artificial intelligence, AI, sits on top of IT. It is the simulation of human intelligence processes by machines, specifically the ability to learn, reason, generalize, and self-correct. Unlike traditional IT, AI operates on probabilistic logic. Instead of just storing or routing data, AI analyzes massive data sets in the underlying to find underlying patterns, making predictions, generating original content, or translating language contextually. The shift. If IT is a massive, meticulously indexed digital library, AI is an expert researcher sitting inside it, capable of reading every book simultaneously, synthesizing the main themes, and explaining them to you in a conversational tone. AI and the transformation of the network society, and regarding the book I'm writing presently, Society, Information Technology, and the Global University. AI and the transformation of the network society. The network society, a social structure made of networks powered by digital information and communication technologies, is shifting from a model of information access to one of automated synthesis. In the classic network society, power and value came from being a critical node that could access and distribute information. AI changes this by decentralizing expertise. When complex analysis, coding, language translation, and data modeling become abundant and instantly accessible at any node in the network, the structural bottlenecks of knowledge shift. The network becomes less about where information lives and more about how dynamically it can be localized and applied. Reimagining the global university. The intersection of AI, open source frameworks like MIT OpenCourseware, OCW, and the architecture of the network society offers a blueprint for an entirely new kind of institution, a truly global university, operational across all 200 countries. Here's how AI fundamentally shifts the mechanics of scaling higher education globally. 1, breaking the language barrier. 2, personalized AI tutors for the open curriculum. 3, hyper-localized contextualization. So a global university cannot just export Western-centric examples blindly. Education must resonate locally to be effective. The AI layer. While the core scientific, mathematical, or economic processes remain constant, AI can automatically adjust the case studies, regional data, and problem sets to reflect the specific economic, ecological, or cultural realities of each individual country. 4, decentralized low-cost infrastructure. Because AI can run on decentralized cloud infrastructure and interact via lightweight, mobile-friendly interfaces, it bypasses the massive capital expenditures required to build physical university systems. The campus becomes a distributed virtual network, utilizing existing open source material as the foundation and AI as the active pedagogical force. The fusion of AI with open educational resources means the global university no longer has to choose between elite quality and mass scale. By utilizing IT as the underlying network infrastructure, MIT OpenCourseware as the verified knowledge base, and AI as the interactive multilingual education, the democratization of higher education across every continent becomes an operational reality. This is exciting and interesting and very relevant for developments in World University and School Next. Read more about this in What is Artificial Intelligence? What is Information Technology? In the blog post from June 2026, beginning Gemini constellation. Agenda item 2A. How can a global online university built on MIT OpenCourseWare and AI achieve recognized accreditation across different international jurisdictions? And I think World University and School may be exploring this and navigating this in new ways, potentially with abstracttechnology.de, which built on the Open edX Europe platform, a German university, and which could potentially help World University and School build Germany World University and School by adding MIT OpenCourseWare in English, for example, to an Open edX Europe platform, and then possibly with abstracttechnology.de or a related German organization help to accredit this new Germany World University and School in German and English with an accreditation agency in Germany. Agenda item 3, beginning red flower beetle, Tribolium castaneum, scientifically prove aging reversal with the #fly connectome and at Harvard Med and WUS Academic Medical Center in a #realistic virtual earth for aging reversal. This is something World University would like to seek to do. And the kernel of the idea is to, it's a WS Press Twitter post, add #juvenile fruit fly brain and #adult fruit fly brain from the Flywire connectome to #G Street View with G time slider at the cell view level and slide between these two back and forth. Then code these with these fruit fly brains, fruit flies themselves, with Google Pegman as Drosophila fly avatar agent electronic health records. Then upload, for example, the #juvenile fly brain as Google cells or Google molecules to a physical adult fly, #physical adult fly, to #reverse aging experiment. And fascinatingly, Gemini helps explain how one might be able to begin to add such digital cell processes of a young fruit fly, a juvenile fruit fly brain or fruit fly, or an adult fruit fly brain or fruit fly, to physical adult fruit fly. So how to add juvenile fruit fly brain, which has been digitized, to an adult fruit fly and make it younger to prove aging reversal. Read more about this in the blog post beginning red flower beetle Tribolium castaneum in my blog, scott-mccloud.blogspot.com from June of 2026. Agenda item 4, simplergrants.gov, demonstration sponsored by the Council on Federal Financial Assistance, CAFA. So I attended this simplergrants.gov webinar where they shared highlights of their newest features and in terms of functionality and in terms of making it simpler. And I'm hoping that World University and School will be able to potentially, in one way or another, apply for a grant here, or perhaps with Siddhartha Mazumdar in Health and Human Services in the federal government, find a way to, with its new simplify grants process, for World University and School to possibly an employee of ours to write a grant, since the new simplifygrants.gov process includes the ability to designate someone to write these grants to in the federal granting system. More about this in the blog post called beginning wetlands in my blog, scott-mccloud.blogspot.com from June of 2026. Stay tuned. Agenda item 5. Was glad to attend a Creative Commons Founders Fireside Chat on Tuesday, June 23rd, 2026. Thanks so much for your great Creative Commons Founders Fireside Chat. Larry Lessig and all. And glad to be in communication with Creative Commons as World University and School grows further. Our universities building on Creative Commons for licensed MIT OpenCourseware. And a question I asked regarding Creative Commons licensing. How to license aspects of an emerging #realistic virtual Earth and a #realistic virtual Harbin Hot Springs as ethnographic and STEM field site. And think Google Street View with Time Slider and at the G-cell view and G-molecule view levels with TensorFlow AI. #text in the sidebar, which everyone can add to via new theory, social science and science theory, a new STEM and ethnographic theory I'm calling Ethno Wiki Virtual World Graphy, also a new STEM and social science method. And in many other ways, so that we could all add to such a realistic virtual Earth. Think Google Street View with Time Slider, think the Flywire Connectome for the Drosophila fly brain. More about this in the blog post beginning Puffin in my blog, scott-mccloud.blogspot.com from June of 2026. Agenda item 6. Wiki teaching anew at World University and School with Google's new guided learning. You can start experimenting with Gemini's guided learning, gemini.google.com/guided-learning. And open the possibility to invite people, for example, Larry Lawhead, a friend from Shadyside Academy in the second half of the 1970s, who has been working with energy technologies for much of his career in Missouri, I think, having gone to Duke University as an undergrad. Want to wiki teach at Open Free World University and School, Larry and other Shadyside friends? For example, from here, at the Energy Technologies wiki subject page, wiki.worlduniversityandschool.org/wiki/energy_technologies, or from any of the wiki subjects here on the subjects wiki subjects page, or on one's wiki subject pages you create, and eventually in languages other than English. And want to teach with aging reversal and extreme longevity genetic drugs emerging, FDA approved, first possibly by 2050 even, and with free to students World University and School building on MIT OpenCourseware in 7 languages and Wiki2 in a Grow with Google WUS program. So if we might live longer than 100 en masse, longer than 122 years of age, the longest documented known living person, longer than 150, it seems like we'll have opportunities to possibly share what we love in teaching, or share what we've known, what we've come to learn in our careers. And how could we use even Gemini AI's guided learning for this, and with and at World University and School. Gemini AI guided learning, AI resources, I just got recently. And for example, it offers a prompt for any prospective, for example, undergraduate student or senior lecturer to insert in a simple sentence the following. I am a undergraduate student, you could insert, or senior lecturer in a specific class, biology class. Guide me through cellular biology. Or you could do this with an ethnographic interest in Harbin Hot Springs too. I am a lecturer about virtual Harbin Hot Springs ethnographic virtual worlds in a EthnoWiki virtual world graphy course on doing research with this new method in theory. Guide me through how to add to a realistic virtual Earth for ethnographic processes, text in the sidebar, or for STEM processes, doing brain research on bliss, for example. Curious to know how my Shadyside Academy friends are using Gemini AI in these regards, and whether, as I continue to reach out to invite people to WikiTeach at Wiki World University and School, how to reach folks further in these regards. And see more about this in the blog post beginning Puffin in my blog from June of 2026, scott-mccloud.blogspot.com. Agenda item 7. Wednesday of June 24th, 2026, beginning Puffin also. Property deed for 670 Ridgecrest Canyon, California, 94516 in Contra Costa County. Questions? Dear UC Berkeley law professor Molly Van Houweling and Harvard law professor Larry Lessig and Harvard law school alum Glenn Brown at Creative Commons, all Creative Commons founders, and with Free to Students World University and School building on CC4 licensed MIT OpenCourseWare, and US Senator from California, Alex Padilla, and Kristen Connolly, Contra Costa County Clerk, Recorder, and former lawyer, how best to proceed with this, and potentially with the WS Academic Center, Medical Center moving into 670 Ridgecrest Road, Canyon, California, 94516, as well as myself. More about this in the blog post beginning Puffin in my blog, scott-mccloud.blogspot.com. Agenda item 8. Further open yoga class, 8 limbs of yoga, and as we may live to 150 years old and well beyond. In the blog post beginning Lotus Nelumbo Nucifera from Saturday, June 27th, 2026, how to scientifically prove reversing aging, and with yoga asana, with time for humans, and with the Flywire connectome, and with all of its Drosophila fly body parts too, which I recently received some videos about how to work with. And in a hashtag realistic virtual earth for aging reversal, hashtag realistic virtual earth for yoga asana too, and see more about how to work with the Flywire connectome. We can all work with it. It's a form of citizen science. In my blog, scott-mccloud.blogspot.com, beginning red flower beetle, Tribolium castaneum, and also in the blog post beginning Lotus Nelumbo Nucifera, a restorative yoga class, and as we may live to 150 years and well beyond, in the blog post on Saturday, June 27th, 2026. Agenda item 9, regarding would love to come up to Harbin Hot Springs Heart Consciousness Church, and regarding the next Harbin Hot Springs ethnographic book project, including the making of a realistic virtual Harbin. And when I might be back from giving a digital ethnography talk at Oxford Anthropology, and regarding building out a realistic virtual Earth further as part of this talk, realistic virtual Harbin Hot Springs. Might it even be possible to go to Oxford and give a talk about virtual Harbin Hot Springs, make a realistic virtual Harbin Hot Springs there, but beforehand get a list of all the potential field sites that people in the digital ethnography summer course that Bill Kelly is teaching, who has an undergraduate degree from UC Davis in Northern California, and with a list of all the possible field sites, ethnographic field sites in this digital ethnography course by the students, explore creating virtual field sites with all of them. And even before I head there, and do some of this in a talk I were to give there, all with voice. And I'm curious whether Bill Kelly and his students are beginning to explore creating virtual field sites and to play with the new amazing AI Studio, Google's AI Studio 2, that works, I think, with or will work with voice commands as well, or prompts. So more about this in the blog post beginning Red Flower Beetle Tribolium castaneatum from June of 2026 in my blog, scott-mccloud.blogspot.com. Agenda item 10. So a virtual Harbin Hot Springs in a WUS multimedia room and 5A Moraga, and with updated Google terms of service, and with a list of most of their platforms, and regarding potentially making a realistic virtual Earth and a realistic virtual Harbin Hot Springs as ethnographic field site, and for soaking from home in our home bathtubs and hot tubs, and for STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics research especially, as well as aging reversal genetics and extreme longevity genetics in an iterating realistic virtual Earth, and think Google Street View with Time Slider, how to begin to explore this in a realistic virtual Earth further, and potentially for example, 5A Moraga creators and developers in new ways. See more about this in the blog post beginning Spot Build Pelican, Pelicanus. So moving to the second wing, the WUS Corporation wing of World University and School, the second of two WUS wings, the for-profit general stock company legal entity in the state of California wing, and planned in 7,159 living languages with machine and human translation, and regarding the WUS Educational Services stores, and see the beginning webpage for this at worlduniversityandschool.org/academicpress.html, and see the tax ID at the bottom. Agenda item A. I'm glad to have reached out also to Frau Angela Merkel and Mrs. Theresa May, and Peter Norvig, Google AI Director, on how best to develop free-to-students WUS, World University, and SCH with MIT OpenCourseWare in 7 languages with Atlantic Partnership, and regarding England World University and School. Further, regarding how best to develop the WUS academic press in these regards, and in all 7,159 known living languages, as well as the WUS Educational Services stores. See more about these in the beginning webpage, Academic Press at World University and School. And with a WUS store within the store model, with a hashtag Walmart WUS partnership with Walmart in 19 out of 200 countries, and World University and School developing online world-class universities, building on MIT OpenCourseWare in 7 languages, and the WS Academic Press and the WS stores in all 200 countries, and in a realistic virtual earth for retail and for everything. Could we do this with England World University and School, and with Atlantic Partnerships, and with Germany World University and School, and with the University of Oxford, and France WUS, Norway WUS, Spain World University and School, Netherlands World University and School, Canada World University and School, Mexico WUS, Brazil WUS, WS Morocco, Nigeria World University and School, and South Africa World University and School. And in all the other European, American, and South American and African countries online, WS universities that border on the Atlantic Ocean, which will be accessible from nation states at worlduniversityandschool.org. Read more about this in the blog post beginning Armenia Maritima Sea Thrift. Agenda item, so that's the news and question and answer for World University and School on July 6, 2026. Using the agenda and news from last week, June 29th, beginning Mount Shasta Wilderness. And I'll post the recording of this WS News and Question and Answer to the main YouTube channel for World University and School, youtube.com/Scott McLeod World University, as well as to the 2 main Twitter feeds, twitter.com/WORLD UNIVANDSCH and twitter.com/WUS Press, as well as to the 2 blog posts for today, which begin Chugach Mountains, Alaska, and also to LinkedIn as well. If you have questions about next steps in these regards for World University and School or the WUS Corporation, please email president@worlduniversityandschool.org or come into communication in a variety of other ways. So glad that World University and School got an email from abstracttechnology.de regarding potentially building out possibly Germany World University and School in the German language, in German and English, possibly exploring accreditation by a German accrediting agency, possibly thanks also to Frau Angela Merkel and Ms. Theresa May, former Chancellor of Germany, former Prime Minister of Great Britain. So until next week, Monday, July 13th at 10 a.m. Pacific time. See you online. worlduniversityandschool.org is the webpage for World University and Schools, listed about 42 majors, as well as access to the wiki in a variety of ways, and in conceiving of a realistic virtual earth as classrooms and STEM field sites too, with access to some of this. So until next week, bye for now.